let's talk some baseball.
Are we talking about the Rockies?
We've spent a lot of time talking about the owner. We spent a lot of time talking about the starting pitching, the bullpen, Cargo's struggles, everything but this one topic. And I'm not afraid to bring it up, but I'm a little sensitive to it because I think he's a wonderful guy and he's been a friend for a long, long time. And I think it's been very, very difficult to figure out whether or not he is a good manager in the major leagues because he hasn't had a lot to work with. But should Walt Weiss be in trouble? Is he in trouble? And another angle, do you think if this continues, Walt might himself walk away like Jim Tracy did because it eats at him so much?
General answer to all that, but I also want to reach out to the person who talked about, one of those bloggers that talked about that I get up and I can't sit still and I'm always wandering around. That's part of our deal is that I walk around so you can see the man cave.
It's the basement.
Like I'm supposed to sit here all the time, I can't go pee? What are you talking about that I'm moving around all the time? Walt Weiss is not going to walk away. He's too big of a competitor. And I think the second part of that is he wants to stay till he does have something to work with. He'd like for his first time to have a starting rotation that is not garbage. Forgive me.
Could be a while, Wood.
Well, I'm saying
could be a long while.
He's not going to walk away from this. Why would he walk away? I mean, he has gotten the opportunity here.
Because Walt is a fairly smart guy. And if he determines, like Jim Tracy determined, like Jim Leland determined, that this is a no-win situation, literally and figuratively,
I disagree with you.
Why would you stay?
He was long-time executive, I don't know the word.
Consultant.
That doesn't sound right. Special assistant
to Dan O'Dowd.
Dan O'Dowd. He and Vinny Castilla did it for years. Then Walt decided he wanted to be a high school coach and kind of figure out how to get back into baseball in that direction. He's not going to walk away. And I repeat something I've said once on the show. That, and I didn't use it. I did an interview with Dick Monfort for Mile High Sports Magazine. We're walking outside, and I was asking about Walt Weiss being the manager, and he started telling me, "Do you remember where you were on Pearl Harbor Day?" And he mentioned these events that were all disasters. But I got the point he was making, and I know what he was trying to say, that he would never forget the day that Walt Weiss's name came up as a candidate. And he said, I'll never forget that day. He was bubbling. This was before last season. He was bubbling that this brilliant idea had come up in a meeting of Walt Weiss, and that when Walt Weiss took the job, he said to me, and I'm not being judgmental with his statement. I'm just telling you fact that Dick Monfort thought that was one of the greatest days in the history of the franchise. Maybe it was.
Well, this is a little bit of a cheap shot, but would Dick Monfort really know a brilliant idea if he saw one? Seriously. Well,
so that's suddenly our first cheap shot towards Dick Monfort.
Here's a cheap shot. I'm serious about that. How would he know?
Well,
he doesn't know anything about baseball.
So I'm using that to illustrate why he's not going to fire Walt Weiss, because Walt Weiss was the greatest idea they've ever had.
You know what happens in this and every other sport. When a team continues to lose, and Walt's lost a lot, whether it's his fault or not, somebody takes the blame, and first and foremost, it's usually the manager. It's not going to be the general manager. He just got the job. Walt's been on the job going into his third year now. His record is 151 and 201. His finishes have been 5th place in a 5-team division, 4th place, and now he's in 5th place again, and things are not looking up. So I get it. Monfort loves the guy. Bridich works well with him and loves the guy. But when the losing continues, somebody gets cut off at the knees, and it's usually the manager in baseball.
Can't fire the players, you have to fire their manager.
Right.
But let me play some other cards here. That Walt Weiss, unlike Jim Tracy quit because of the interference. That Bill Guyvette sat in his lap. Literally, almost.
Couldn't stand Guyvette or O'Dowd.
Yeah. So he walked away from $4 million and hasn't gotten another job and hasn't taken other coaching jobs, but he hadn't gotten another managerial job because that smudged him in terms of being a manager. That even though he got him to the playoffs one year, that you'd think people around baseball would have respected that. Leland didn't want the job. He took this job
After
because
2
that
months,
was
he
only-
gave up.
Yeah, and you and I saw that. So those situations differently. Clint Hurdle was fired because the players just got to the point where they didn't want to listen to and didn't pay attention to Clint Hurdle's style anymore.
And Buddy Bell was a disaster.
That was a bad hire. Don Baylor was a good hire to begin with because he was a strong man who, with an expansion team. And I guess we've covered everybody, haven't we?
Yes.
Have we left anybody out? Walt White's not going to walk away from this job because he's been given more authority in terms of decisions they make.
Yes.
In the past, Dan O'Dowd or Bill Guyvette would say, okay, we're sending this guy down. Now Walt Weiss has, at least we know, input into when they say, we're going to send Matzik down, that Walt Weiss has to sign off on it, unlike in the past. So he's not going to walk away from this job. Too competitive. I've known him since he played here. He's one of the most competitive guys I've ever seen. He got more out of, that sounds bad, he got a lot out of, he wasn't the greatest player. He wasn't in Troy Tulowitzki's dimension as a great physical, talented player. He was a great player.
He squeezed
Rookie
a lot
of
out
the
of
year.
his career.
Yeah. So he's not going to walk away. He's a competitor. Bryant's is not going to walk away. He got a job he said he didn't even deserve. So he's got. There's only one place to point your finger, and that person is not going to be fired unless, which I proposed on Sunday, unless that guy fires himself, and I gave him a way out because he's one of your guys. Todd Helton and you are very friendly. I recommended at the end of my column that they bring Todd Helton in and make him the John Elway, Joe Sakic
President, so to speak.
Would you think, knowing Todd as closely as you do,
Yeah.
would he take that job?
I think Todd is interested in the future. I don't know how near future, but in the future, in being involved in running a baseball club, maybe even owning a piece of a baseball club. I don't know that he's ready to dive into it right now. I think he's enjoying retirement right now. He's doing a lot of traveling, he's hunting, he's spending time with his kids.
Sure, I understand all that.
But soon, he might be ready soon.
But let's say that...
and he does have a good relationship with Dick Monfort.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Monfort, unlike my father, bought Todd Helton a pony. My dad wouldn't buy me a pony. So they obviously have a good relationship.
But I hear your dad did buy one for Todd Helton. So you really should be pissed, because now Todd has two and you have none. That segment brought to you by Papa John's, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rockies, the day after every Rockies win.
And never
it's been
forget
a while.
my father.
50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com. You have to do it online. Use the promo code ROXWIN, ROXWIN.